they come out and they tell me that there were no such incident that took place in their city. So I'm sitting there and I'm saying, no, look, I got the ambulance bill. Here's where the ambulance picked him up at. And they look at it and they go, no, they obviously got the address wrong. And I said, no, look, here's the ambulance bill. I talked to the ambulance driver and they said that this is where they picked him up at. And I said, I recorded the conversation. Would you like to hear it? Nah, they're mistaken. This didn't happen here. And I'm saying, no, this happened at this club a half a mile from your police station here. You had a police officer on duty there as a security guard. And they're going, no, you know that police officer's name? And I said, no, but I can find it out for you. And they're going, well, that didn't happen that didn't happen. There was no shooting. And they said, well, let me go back here and let me verify that. Let me go back here and call the 911 and see if we had any, the 911 center. Let me see if we had any 911 calls come in on that date and time to see if there was any shootings come in. So about 45 minutes later, they come back out and they said, no, there was no 911 shootings calls come in. I said, what are you talking about? I said, I got a client with 2 bullet holes in him and I got an ambulance bill here and I got a 150 pages of medical bills from Grady Hospital where my client was shot. Well, we're not denying that your client was shot, but he just wasn't shot in our jurisdiction.
And welcome back to another episode of True Stories from a Real Private Eye. I'm your host, Vinnie Coppola. With me, as always, is Lynn Lambdin, a real private investigator in Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you so much for being here. We do so appreciate it. Lynn, I heard you got a good one for us this week. What's up?
Well, Vinny, yeah, I got a pretty good one. How you been this week?
Still stressed, buddy, but I'm taking it day by day.
Yeah, your kids kicking you in the rear, huh?
Oh, my gosh. You have no idea. You have no idea.
Yeah, I raised one. I know.
Yes, sir. You raised one. You're an amateur, bro. I got 3.
Well, yeah, Vinny, I got a good one. So this one started out. Well, first, let me tell you this. This incident happened in a newly formed city. In Atlanta on the south side.
Okay.
So that's a clue if you want to figure out where this happened at.
All right. Well.
So I got a phone call.
I might need Google for that, but go ahead.
Well, there you go. There's another way to figure out how it happened.
Yeah.
Or AI. So I got a phone call, and it was about a person shot at a nightclub. So the attorney says, Lynn, I need you to go interview the client, go get all of the EMS reports, all the 911 reports, all the police reports, get everything because this is a good one. Guy got shot in a nightclub. I said, okay, not a problem. So I call the guy up. I get an interview with him the next morning. This was our client. I go out. I interview the client. He's got 2 gunshot wounds, one in his hip and one in his leg.
So he didn't die?
No, he didn't die.
Okay.
But he's got some pretty nasty gunshot wounds.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've dealt with quite a few. I not say quite a few, but I've dealt with a lot of gunshot wound. You know, I've dealt with a lot of cases where there were gunshots involved, and this one was not as bad as the others. I mean, I've dealt with death, gunshot wounds, and paralyzed people from the waist down and from the neck down. I've dealt with a lot of. This wasn't as bad as the others. This guy wasn't paralyzed or dead or anything, but he had some nasty gunshot wounds. And so I go out and I interview him, and he got shot in this newly formed city. This city was only 3 or 4, 5 years old at the time.
Okay.
And so I interview him, and so the guy's not quite honest with me about everything that happened.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Well, we'll get to that. You're getting ahead of me, Vinny.
As I oftentimes do.
So I didn't discover that the guy wasn't being honest with me until later, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. You'll figure out when I figured out. You'll say, oh, that's how you knew he wasn't being honest with you.
Gotcha.
So I interview the guy, and he tells me that he gets in an argument with another guy in the nightclub, and The guy pulls a gun on him, shoots him, and nobody will call 911 for him, and he has to call 911 himself. So he calls 911 and drags himself outside, or tries to drag himself outside, and he collapses halfway halfway through the club. And 911 ambulance shows up, comes inside, picks him up, blood everywhere, and takes him to Grady Hospital in downtown Atlanta. So the next day, or 2 days after, he called the attorney. Then the next day, I show up to interview him. So, you're thinking pretty good case. I mean, it's a high crime area. So at the time, we had negligent security, and that's what we were going after the nightclub for, negligent security. So I go to the police station after I interview the guy and get the details. So this is about all the details he gives me. He told me he didn't really know why the guy started with him. He said, I was just talking to this girl in the club, and I think I was talking to the guy's girlfriend. That's what he tells me.
Okay.
That's why the argument ensued.
According to him.
Got it. So, and the argument ensued, and he got shot, calls 911, ambulance shows up. Now, there is a police officer on duty, but he's in plain clothes. So he's an off-duty police officer, but he's a police officer for this city. On duty.
Is he there working? Is he getting paid? Okay.
He is. He's a security guard for the club, but he's off duty.
Okay.
We think he's for the club.
Yeah.
That's the key part there. We think, according to everybody, he was working for the club, we think.
Okay.
Everybody says, yes, he was a bouncer for the club.
Got it.
That was everybody's statement. Later, I found out the club owners, or the club employees, said different. So I go to the police station, and first I go and I get the ambulance bill. I pull the bill from the ambulance. I go to Grady. I get all his medical records. He's got like $250,000 in medical bills at Grady, because Grady overcharges everything.
Is this just from this one incident, or is this?
No, just for this one incident. He's got like $250,000 in medical bills.
Wow.
Yeah, but Grady overcharges.
Right.
Grady overcharges everything. So, and then what they do is when the insurance goes to pay it, or an attorney goes to pay it, they negotiate it down to a reasonable fee.
Okay.
That's what Grady does. Grady is a county-owned hospital. It's supposed to be free for the citizens within the county, but they overcharge and then they negotiate down. That's what they do.
Yeah. So they probably still make a good amount of money, because they don't go to the real amount. They just go lower than the high amount.
Well, Grady actually loses money every year, and the taxpayers has to subsidize them.
Oh boy! All right.
The Fulton and DeKalb County has to subsidize them. So
okay.
Yeah, but that's a discussion for another day.
Okay.
So I pull the medical bills. I pull the ambulance bill, where the ambulance picked him up at. I talked to the two ambulance drivers. Two ambulance drivers said, well, yeah, he was bleeding. We thought he was going to bleed out. He was bleeding so much. So now I go to the police department about 5 days after the incident, because it takes 3 to 5 days for the accident, for the police report to get ready. So I go to the police department, and this attorney that I'm working for in this case is a real brainiac. He's kind of like Carlton Banks on steroids. He has no personality, and he's so smart that he thinks everything 10 steps ahead. And he's one of the smartest people you'll ever. I think his wife is the only person I've ever met that was smarter than him. He was the smartest person when it comes. He never met a case that he didn't think that he could outsmart the opposing counsel, and 95% of the time he was right. And it wasn't because he couldn't outsmart the other counsel on the other 5% of the cases. It was just that the other cases were so overwhelming with evidence that there was nobody that could outsmart the other counsel, because it was just, it's like right here. Here's the video. There's no way that you can out-talk this video.
Right, right.
But he was just so smart that he could come up with some kind of defense. He was just that kind of attorney. So I go to the police department to pull this police report about 5 or 6 days, because it takes them a while to get the police report ready. They don't ever issue the police report, and this was a shooting, so it takes a while. So 5 to 7 days, sometime thereafter the shooting, I go to the police department to get the police report. And it's kind of a tight parking lot because this is a new city, and they haven't really got their permanent building yet. And I pull in, and I park, and I go in, and I ask for the police report, and people start acting strange. And they let me sit there for a while, and they come out and they tell me that there were no such incident that took place in their city. And I said, "What are you talking about?" And I always carry a folder with me, because I carry all my evidence in folders.
Yeah.
And I buy those packages, those boxes of color-coded folders, the red, the blue, the purple, the green. And the reason I do that is so that it's easy identifiable because I'll take 2 or 3, 4 cases with me at a time, and I always make sure that they're in different folders.
Right.
So that when I reach over in my car seat, I know what color of folder I'm working on at the time. Oh, this is a green one,
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there and I'm saying, "No, look, I got the ambulance bill. Here's where the ambulance picked him up at." And they look at it and they go, no, they obviously got the address wrong. And I said, "No, look, here's the ambulance bill. I talked to the ambulance driver, and they said that this is where they picked him up at." And I said, "I recorded the conversation. Would you like to hear it?" "Nah, they're mistaken. This didn't happen here."
Really?
And I'm saying, "No, this happened at this club a half a mile from your police station here. You had a police officer on duty there as a security guard." And they're going, "No, you know that police officer's name?" And I said, "No, but I can find it out for you." And they're going, "Well, that didn't happen that didn't happen. There was no shooting." And they said, "Well, let me go back here and let me verify that. Let me go back here and call the 911 and see if we had any the 911 center. Let me see if we had any 911 calls come in on that date and time to see if there was any shootings come in." So about 45 minutes later, they come back out and they said, "No, there was no 911 shootings calls come in."
Oh boy.
I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I got a client with 2 bullet holes in him, and I got an ambulance bill here, and I got 150 pages of medical bills from Grady Hospital where my client was shot." "Well, we're not denying that your client was shot, but he just wasn't shot in our jurisdiction."
Really?
So I call the attorney, and the attorney's going, "Well, we kind of figured it's going to be rough because we know that this is a corrupt city, that we know that everybody there's corrupt." And I said, "Okay." I said, all I can do is leave. They said, "Well, we got to have that police report." So we got to have it. We can't move forward without this case without this police report. They're denying this happened. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
So I argue with them for a few more minutes, and I said, "Well, I guess I'll just leave." So I go out to get in my car, and they got my car blocked in.
Oh, really?
They got police cars on each side of my car, or a police van. I don't remember exactly. And then they got a police car behind me so that I can't get out.
Uh-oh.
So I go back in, and I said, and I'm starting to get nervous. The palm of my hands are starting to get sweaty.
Yeah.
Now remember, I've been here about an hour and a half, 2 hours already.
Yeah.
Arguing over this police report that doesn't exist.
According to them.
Well, the shooting that doesn't exist.
The shooting that doesn't exist. Yeah.
So I go back in, and now remember, I've irritated them in there.
Yeah.
And I've already made them mad at me.
Yeah.
So I've been there from like 12 to 2. So I go back in there and I say, look, guys, I said, can you move and let my car out? And they go, what are you talking about? We don't have you blocked in.
Oh, no.
So we played this for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
What do you mean we got you blocked in? No, we don't have you blocked in. What are you talking about? I said, my car out there. I said, you got my car. I said, there's a police car behind my car.
Yeah.
I said, and they would go out and they'd look and they go, well, we don't see anybody blocked in.
Really?
So I finally got them to say, oh yeah, I see what you're talking about. So I called the attorney back and I said, look, they got me blocked in and they won't let me leave. I said, can you do something? So he calls the police station and he said, look, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but this is not cool. You need to move your car and let him out. And they said, well, we'll see if we can find the keys. We've lost the keys. We don't know where the keys are at.
Oh my God, these guys.
So
this is like something you would see in a movie, dude. This is
yes.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know how they figured out to put this scene in a movie.
Yeah.
Because it really happens to people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Vinnie, I was thinking to myself, these people are going to kill me and bury me somewhere because I have stumbled up on something that these guys are involved in.
Yeah, yeah, and they're trying to keep a lid on it. Yeah,
and I keep thinking to myself, what have I stumbled up on here? What was this, a drug deal gone bad?
Right.
Was the cop involved? Did the cop shoot this guy?
Yeah.
What happened here? Why are they trying to bury this?
Right.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
So they going, well, we're trying to find the keys. We can't find the keys. I said, call a tow truck. Call a damn tow truck.
Yeah.
Move that thing out of the way.
Yeah.
Because in front of me, I couldn't go up over the curb because where I'd parked, there was a wall back there.
Right.
So I couldn't drive over the curb. And I said, you guys need to do something. So they kept me there another 2 hours. So I called the attorney back, and it's getting about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I had to cancel appointments that I had with other clients.
Right.
So I called the attorney back and I said, you need to do something. I said, I don't care what you do. I said, you got to do something now.
Yeah.
I said, I got to get out of here. I said, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said, they're just jerking me around. I said, you got to come down here or get somebody down here. I said, because they're not letting me leave.
Right.
So he called back down there and he said, look, I'm on my way to the Fulton County Superior Court to file a lawsuit against you right now for holding my guy and entrapping his car and not letting his car out. He said, you guys can't hold his car for no reason. And the same cop that was sitting there at the door reaches in his pocket and he goes, oh, I found the keys.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah. And then they go out and then they start playing musical cars. They didn't move the car behind me. They had to move the car on one side of me, then the car on the other side of me, and they would move one car over here and put it over here, and then move it over here. For 15 minutes, they played this musical car things before they'd ever move the car behind me and let me out.
This episode is brought to you by Simple Funding LLC. For all of your pre-settlement funding needs, contact Simple Funding LLC to receive your money promptly. They're a customer-centric legal funding company that provides exceptional funding solutions at affordable rates. Simple Funding covers a diverse range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, worker compensation, medical malpractice, wrongful death, and more. They recognize that life goes on and you need to access your funds immediately, which is why they offer clients a swift and efficient process with minimal documentation requirements. For more information, visit simplefundingllc.com or contact them directly at 678-855-6232.
So finally they let me out.
You know, all of this activity just reeks of guilt.
Well,
it reeks of a cover up. It reeks. They could have just went, no, we don't know what you're talking about. No, that didn't happen here. All right, I'm gonna leave. Okay, bye.
No, Vinnie. All they could have said is, we don't have the police report ready.
Yeah.
and I would have left.
Yeah.
I would have never asked another question.
Right. Right.
That's all they had to say.
Yeah. There you go. There.
But see, they couldn't say that the police report is not ready. They had to say that it didn't happen.
Right.
So when I got in the car and got away from the place, I called the client and I said, look, a-hole, but I didn't use the word a-hole. I said, you need to tell me what the F is going on right now.
Yeah.
I said, I just been at the police station for 4 hours trying to get your police report. And I said, they said that this never happened. I said, I want to know what's going on right now. I said, you need to tell me now what's going on.
Yeah.
I said, I don't mind working on your case, even if there's something funny going on. I said, but you're going to get me killed if you don't tell me the truth.
Right.
I said, I'm dealing with dirty cops here, obviously.
Yeah.
He said, it was a drug deal gone bad. He said,
it had nothing to do with it. It had nothing to do with talking to a girl.
No, he was in the club selling drugs.
Yeah.
And the drug dealer in the club got mad because he was encroaching on somebody else's turf. See, our guy was selling drugs in a club that he wasn't allowed to sell drugs in.
Mm-hmm.
And the club drug dealer told him to leave. They got in a fight. And the cop was protecting the local drug dealer.
Oh my God. Oh,
and shots were fired.
Well, there you have it. You have it.
So the police department was protecting the local drug dealer in the club.
And the off-duty police officer working as a security guard.
The off-duty police officer was and the reason I say the police department was involved is because the off-duty police officer was protecting the drug dealer. Right. And then when I go to get the police report, the police department was protecting the off-duty police officer.
Right. Yeah.
Which means the police department was involved.
Yeah. Well, they could have avoided all of that just by, hey, like you said, the report's not ready. Yeah.
Or just saying, look, yes, this is a dirty officer and we fired him.
True. Yeah. Yeah.
But so our guy tried to sell drugs in a club that he wasn't authorized to sell drugs in. Yeah. And so the local drug dealer shot him. Yeah. And the police covered it up.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. Unbelievable. That's straight out of a movie.
No, Vinnie, it's not. This is real life.
No, I know, but I'm telling you, it's like I mean, it just seems like something you would see in a movie. You would watch it and go, "This is so crazy." And the fact that it's real, the fact that it happened, that's nuts, dude.
Yep.
That's nuts.
Yep.
So did the lawyer wind up dropping the case because it wound up being under false pretenses?
Well, we was going to continue with the case, but we never could.
What would be the case now?
Well, we never could get the police report to see how the police report was written up, so we dropped the case.
So this guy who got shot for selling drugs on the wrong turf came to this lawyer that you were working for, and what was his intention? He wanted to sue for negligent security, and he lied to us about it. But if the police officer... Oh, so he was just trying to make a little money. He was trying to make a little money. And once again, he assumed that you guys would not do your due diligence.
Correct. Now, the reason that after our client told us the truth, we took it a few days further to see if we could get the police report and how the police report would have been written. Because we knew that the police officer wasn't going to write the police report saying, "Oh, two drug dealers got in a fight, and I was protecting the drug dealer."
Right. I was protecting the drug dealer because it was his turf and he was paying me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the police department was protecting me. That's why your investigator couldn't get any information.
Right.
So we knew that he couldn't write the police report up that way. So we wanted to get the police report and see how he wrote it up. Because if he would have wrote it up saying that they were a fight and this unknown person shot this guy, then we would have had a case regardless of how it would have went down.
Right.
but the police department never, till this day, they still deny that there was a shooting in that club.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, still deny. Still got the attorney has the paperwork, unless he's shredded it. It's been so long. They only keep the paperwork for like 5 to 7 years. Probably shredded it, but still had the when I closed my file, the attorney had the client's medical records, the 911 tape where he called 911 because we got the 911 tape, had the ambulance where they picked him up at. Everything. I mean, it was a clear cut case of where. I mean, there was no doubt that where it happened at.
Right.
And the drug dealer that shot him, he disappeared. We couldn't find him. He was gone. Yeah. Nobody knew his name. Everybody you talked to at the club said, we don't know who that is. Nothing happened here. But all the patrons that were there that we interviewed that night, that our guy knew, because our guy was there because somebody that he knew was having a party there. That's why he was there, because he knew like 25 or 30 people there. And when we interviewed those people, they were telling his side of the story, but they wasn't telling the story about, they were saying, well, we don't know why the fight happened. We just seen them arguing and then him pull a gun and shoot our guy, because our guy didn't have a gun on him.
How very convenient.
How very convenient.
Yeah.
But see, because our guy was just going there to supply his party with the drugs.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he was going to go there and make a bunch of money off of his group.
Yeah. These idiots that they see a way to make money and they think that it's just going to be so easy. Oh, I'll just tell this story, like lawyers and investigators like yourself are just morons. They go, oh, okay,
Yeah,
we'll do it your way just because you say,
Yeah,
it's like the laws don't exist,
Yep.
to protect people from morons like this. It's crazy.
Well, it's like okay, this is what you said, so we're just going to take what you said, write it down, and just
give you a whole bunch of money. And just give you a whole bunch of money. Here's your money.
It's like, why do you think lawyers have investigators? What do you think? Have you ever looked up the definition of investigators? We ask questions. That's what investigators do.
Right.
We go out and we ask questions. So,
right. But I can't help but think that if the cops, when you initially went to interview them and say, hey, I need this police report. No, I got this. If they would have just been, not so much of a dick, a bunch of dicks, and instead of lying and then blocking your car in and playing all these obvious games, you would have never asked the question, hey, you got to tell me what's going on right now. You got to tell me this is, this isn't what you're saying it is, and I know it's not. I mean, if the cops wouldn't have done that, the whole thing probably could have ended quicker.
Well, when I went to the police department, if the police officers would have, if they would have just produced a police report that said 2 drug dealers got in an argument, it would have ended right there.
Yeah,
because there's no negligent security for 2 drug dealers getting in a fight.
Right.
The case would have been over.
Yeah.
All the police officer had to do was write a report that said 2 drug dealers got into a fight. One pulled a gun and shot the other. The one who pulled the gun left the club before we could detain him.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. It's over.
We drop our case.
Yeah.
Because you can't, there's no laws that allow you to sue because 2 drug dealers are fighting over turf.
Right.
That's not negligent security.
Yeah. Yep.
That's negligent security would be that if 2 drug dealers are fighting and I get shot as an innocent bystander, that's negligent security.
Yeah.
So all they had to do was just write up a police report. But now here I am telling a story on a podcast that thousands of people are going to hear about this city, and they're going to Google new city in South Georgia and South Atlanta.
Yeah.
And they're going to know what city it was.
Yeah.
Or they're going to Google corrupt city in South Atlanta, and it's going to pop up just like that because everybody knows everybody knows it.
Well, it's not the only corrupt city in this state, that's for sure.
Well, but
if you're not new to this podcast, we've talked about a couple of them. You know?
Yes, we have. But it seems like everybody in this city's corrupt, and we'll talk more about this corrupt city later because I have other stories about this corrupt city because I've worked against this corrupt city.
I know.
We've probably talked about this city. I think we have talked about this city
quite a bit, dude. We talked about corrupt judges, corrupt police departments, corrupt towns, corrupt cities. Yeah. Georgia is definitely. I mean, you know what? I'm sure it's not the worst, but it's up there.
Yeah. Well, you really don't know how until you really start getting out there and working in it. You really don't realize how corrupt it really is. How not for the people it really is.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. I was talking to a colleague today, and we were talking about how corrupt, how rude, and how nasty a police department right here in Metro Atlanta is to everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, he said he's a service provider. He's a tow truck driver, and he has to tow vehicles from this town, from this city, from this county, from the city. And he said, "Man," he goes, "I hate going there." He said, "I asked my company not to send me to that jurisdiction." He said because the police treat everybody so bad there.
Yeah.
He said I don't care what color you are. He said I don't care what nationality you are. He said they just treat you so bad. He said they're just so nasty to you. He said they're not, and he said we're on the same team.
Yeah.
He said if there's a wreck, he said we come and clean up the wreck for the police, and he said they treat me like dirt.
This episode is brought to you by the Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates, voted the best law firm by the American Institute of Trial Lawyers. When life hits you hard with a serious injury, don't let insurance companies hit you harder with lowball offers and endless runaround. You deserve justice. You deserve compensation. You deserve to win. The Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates have a high-powered legal team with a nationwide reach and the highest rating on the National Attorney Rating Service. Trial Magazine calls them one of the most influential law firms in America. They win big. Big results at trial court, appeals court, the state Supreme Court, and are recognized as award-winning litigators of the year. The Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates handle everything so you can heal. Don't face this battle alone. The aftermath of an accident is traumatic enough. Medical bills pile up, pain overwhelms, emotions run high, and that's where they step in to shoulder the legal fight while you focus on what truly matters, your recovery. They are the first law firm to offer a bigger settlement guarantee. If they can't beat the amount of your current settlement with a bigger settlement offer, your legal fees are free. Ready to win your case? Find out in one phone call if you have a case and how much your case is really worth. Call the Accident Attorneys of Monge and Associates today at 1-888-477-0597 or visit them online at becauseyouwanttowin.com.
He said the police have to give me certain information for the vehicle, and he said they won't even hand it to me. He said they just throw it in the seat of the wrecked car.
Really?
Yeah, he said they're just nasty to me.
Those tow truck drivers, man, they got it bad. They got it rough. They risk their lives every day, and especially like if you're on the side of the highway. I mean, and they pull up and they got to change your tire. They're out there on the road. Cars don't even move for them. There's whizzing by them, stuff like that. It's like, those guys, they risk their lives every day, and they got a hard job.
Well, just real quick,
they don't deserve that. They don't deserve that treatment.
Well, that's what I was talking to him about. See, what happened was we were trying to get a police report, and we couldn't find the police report, and I had to contact the tow truck driver because we knew where the car was, but we did not know we couldn't figure out why the police report hadn't been issued. So what I done is I backtracked and I called the tow truck company. The tow truck company gave me they had the tow truck driver call me. And when the tow truck driver called me, I said, "Do you know the name of the police officer?" And he said, "No." He said, if it would have been in any other jurisdiction, he said, I would have known the police officer. He said, but in this jurisdiction, he said, they're so nasty, they won't even talk to me. He said, they're just nasty. He said that they won't even, he said, like if it's in the city of Atlanta, he said, the police officer will hand me the information that I need to tow the car. And he says, but in this jurisdiction, he said, they'll just walk up and throw it in the seat of the wrecked car. And he said, I have to sweep the glass out of the road. He said, I have to get the oil out of the road. And he said, there's a lot of things I have to do that I'm required to do by law. And he said, I'm not doing it for me. He said, I'm doing it for the police. And he said, we're on a police call. And he said, I'd like to be, so what I was trying to do is I was trying to get the name of the police officer so that I could contact the police force and find out who worked that wreck. Because the police department's going, well, we don't have any record of that. We don't know who worked that accident. We don't know. We can't tell you. So what I was trying to do is contact the tow truck driver to find out which police officer worked it so that I could contact the department and have that police officer release that police report.
Yeah.
And he's going, nah, I couldn't. He said, I can't tell you. He said, because they won't even talk to us and any tow truck drivers in that jurisdiction. He goes, they treat us all so bad. And I just thought, well, man, that is so crappy.
It is.
I said, shouldn't you work together? He goes, well, we should work together.
100%.
He said, but they feel like they're so much. He said they feel like they're above us and they won't even talk to us.
Yeah.
He said they won't shake our hands. He said they won't even speak to us.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
That ain't right.
Yep. And I'll tell you this. It's the same city that the punchline used to be in.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Holy cow. Well, I know the answer to that one.
Yep.
Yeah. And we've actually talked about that city before.
That's the same city that I watched the cops come in and buy cocaine.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we've talked about that city before.
Yep.
And it's a corrupt one. Yeah.
There's a lot of corruption there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you another one. I watched a waitress get a DUI in that county, in that city. And, I watched that same waitress get out of jail, come to work the next night, ask a buddy of mine to go talk to his buddy at the police department and ask him to drop the DUI. And he did, and they dropped the DUI.
Well, good for her, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep. I wonder what kind of favors were passed back and forth for that. I actually don't have to wonder too much.
Yep. Well,
unbelievable.
Yep. But, that's,
yeah. Good old city name.
Yeah.
We'll let you guys figure it out. Hey,
well, you got to go back and watch the old episodes to figure it out.
Yeah. Watch the old episodes or Google, like Lynn said, corrupt city, in Atlanta, corrupt city in Atlanta.
Well,
15 are going to come up.
Yeah, but this one with the nightclub, Vinnie, I'm telling you, man. It's. I'll give you another hint.
Yeah.
I'll give you another hint, and I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it because it will give it away so bad that it'll be like me giving you the name.
Yeah. First person to find the name of the city in South Atlanta that Lynn is talking about or talked about in this episode. What are they going to get? They get
we'll give you a discount for a locate or locate or something. We'll
if you need to find somebody, if you need to serve someone in papers, Yeah.
We'll give you a discount.
Give you a discount at lwias.com.
We'll give you a 10% discount.
Yeah.
On the first one that figures it out.
Yeah. The first one that figures out that city. Just email us at realprivateeyestories.com. We thank you so much for being here. Once again, if you like stand-up comedy and goofy videos, check me out online. My website is vinnie.com, www.vinnie.com. All the links to all my social media is there. Like I said earlier, Lynn is the best. If you need to find somebody, if you need to serve someone papers, if you need to surveil somebody, you suspect someone of doing some kind of not so above the board stuff, and you want to find out if he is or he isn't, or she is or she isn't, Lynn Lambdin is the best. Tell him your website, Lynn. I already said it, but tell him.
LWIAS.com. LWIAS.com. And we have a new sponsor this week, and I'll let Vinnie, Simple Funding is still a sponsor.
Of course, and thank you, Simple Funding, for all your legal funding needs. Contact Simple Funding. And yes, we are so proud to welcome the accident attorneys of Monge and Associates as a sponsor. Thank you so much. If you have an accident due to someone's negligence, contact the accident attorneys of Monge and Associates. They are the best.
Because you want to win.com.
Because you want to win.com. Yes.
And tell them Lynn and Vinnie said the call.
Yes. When you call them, tell them you heard about them on the podcast. We so appreciate
and if you tell them if you need anybody to do a commercial for you, need the specialized voice of Vinnie Coppola, just contact us, and Vinnie will be more than happy to lend you his voice for the right price.
That's for sure. Yes, if you're looking for a voiceover artist, give me a call and let's talk about it. Yeah. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you for that. We appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. If you can, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave us a comment or a review. We would appreciate it. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.